different times, so you have to adjust.
You'll probably run 2:15, you know, on the
We believe he's in phase 3 now. We're not sure.
A few laps left in 2.
Did he?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
at 3 or 4 laps.
You're the official.
No. It's just what I remember seeing.
So a couple more in phase 2 before he
And
moves
then
on.
he's fueled up so he could step right off into the next phase and go faster. So he's still not using the racetrack coming out of
No, he's
2 and
very
4.
conservative, very
And
conservative.
that's good.
Yeah.
He's you know, the car will take him there when he gets.
When it
his
starts
speed.
shedding some downforce.
Yeah.
I had a driver tell me once that his first year, he was told, "You're not getting close enough up to the wall.
2 more to go.
2 more to go. You're not using all the racetrack." And then I am. Foot. No. Let's look at the video. And you know you're 2 yards away from it, but
Yeah.
I cannot imagine what that looks like, because to any of the rest of us, 2 yards away is going to feel like inches away, but that's the precision that is needed to do this
Yes.
at the extreme.
To go fast.
Did you see some of my qualifying before we got wings? I used to raise the dust on a short shoot. You know, I got an inch away. You had to really use every inch of it.
I've come in. The guy said, "You got a little close up in the north end, didn't you?" And
No,
I said,
white
"What do you mean?"
wall.
He said, "You scrubbed the Goodyear off the sidewall of the tire."
Yeah.
But where he's at now is where you want him today. Today
Yes.
is not the
Yeah,
day
no, learning.
to get there.
100%.
Yes.
Learning.
100%.
Yes, that's
yeah.
good.
100%.
We've also been inviting questions via the hashtag Alonso Runs Indy from Matthew in Halifax. Guys, what are the physical differences in terms of cardio and hydration and everything that Alonso is going to have to deal with to prepare for this race?
Well, physically, he's totally ready, period. Because you know, the physical, the stamina that you need to drive a Formula One race is beyond what you need here, quite honestly, physically. So that part is going to be a piece of cake for him. He just ran 219 plus.
Yeah, he's getting after it now.
I love this. You know, he's doing exactly what you were hoping for. And again, it just shows, you know, the quality of individual we have there. You know, it's just wonderful to see.
And again, he's supposed to keep it below 220, so he's on the brink as fast as he can go.
Yeah, right.
And then once he's done with that, he can, within reason, turn it loose today.
Yeah.
Within the team's choice.
Well, right now he has the luxury of lifting a little bit to keep it, you know.
I don't think he's lifting with that kind of downforce he has. I think he's flat.
When could you start going flat here?
The third lap.
No, I'm sorry. I mean, when in the... It was sometime, I assume, in your area, because when you guys started, you were lifting in the corners.
I went flat when I set the track record here in the M16 McLaren at 199 fast lap and 198 average.
You were flat?
And that was flat.
Right.
But that was a flat bottom car with a wing on the back the size of a picnic table, you know. But it had over 1,000 horsepower.
It's in the 19 and a half consistently, which is really, that's a race pace right there.
Yeah. And for those that are joining us, especially internationally, we should explain again the caliber of team that Fernando Alonso is joining. They've won the 500 4 times in the last dozen years, including last year. Michael Andretti, Mario's son, is the team owner as Alonso gets the call to pit.
Well, I think, quite honestly, I know it's my son Michael, but I think the team deserves some credit for the preparation of this car to put something under Fernando that he totally deserves, something that it's immediately competitive, so I think it's mission accomplished in many ways there, and I had no doubts about it, quite honestly, myself. That's why I was making the statements that I was making when there was slight criticism along the way about him undertaking this. So I think all of what we're seeing is justifying, his motive for doing this in every possible way. So again, you never know what the future will hold, but I think a very critical point is already behind us, believe it or not.
Will pit stops be any challenge or any adjustment from the 2.5-second pit stops without fueling that he has in Formula One to what we're going to see
Well,
in
by
IndyCar?
comparison to Formula One, you'll be able to have a sandwich during a pit stop here.
Thanks for joining us from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A very noteworthy day. Fernando Alonso, the 2-time world champion, making his debut at Indianapolis, and McLaren making their return. It's been open to the public. The viewing mounds at the south end of the course near the museum. And we have seen Fernando Alonso quickly get up to speed, pacing at just under 220 miles an hour. That was the top speed he was expected to do and allowed to do within the rookie orientation program. Now he is free to let loose. I'm Kevin Lee. Mario Andretti, Johnny Rutherford, kind enough to join us here today. So what kind of things might they be doing now? We saw them, are they...
Salga la lista
¿Lo llamaste vos?
y confirmaron. Sí, obviamente.
He hadn't been in a car for a while, but he looks pretty tough. He's got no coat on down there. And Zach's a pretty good race driver before he decided to become a racing entrepreneur. And I'd say without him, we wouldn't have this put together, because I can't imagine Bernie. Mario knows Bernie Ecclestone as well as anybody. I can't imagine Bernie letting this happen, or Ron Dennis.
Yeah, I agree, 100% on that one. There were some real obstacles, at one point, as far as any of the Formula One drivers venturing, into IndyCar. Believe me, and some of that doesn't exist at the moment.
Some insight, and I know, Mario, you've got other schedules. We greatly appreciate you, as Robin spilled the beans, and coming up at 3 a.m. We're going to let Robin offer one more question before we let you get on with the rest of your day. Robin, what do you got for the champ?
It's always good to see JR and Mario, and the fact is they're the guys I grew up idolizing and watching them run Terre Haute, Winchester, Salem. I knew they were brave. I knew they were crazy. I didn't think they'd see 30 years old, but they surprised us all, and I'm just honored to have them as my buddies.
Okay, buddy. Thank you.
And thank you both for joining us. Johnny Rutherford, the 3-time winner of the Indianapolis 500, including 2 with McLaren, kind enough to join us. We'll see you throughout the month of May, right? You won't miss it.
That's right.
And Mario Andretti, we'll see you back here very soon as well. Thank you so much. The Formula One world champion, 4-time IndyCar champ, and 1969 Indianapolis 500 winner. We'll take a quick break, but we'll be back. We see Fernando Alonso is back on track, and we'll have plenty more to come. Welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The month of May is upon us, and an extra treat a week and a half before we would normally see activity on the 2.5-mile oval. Today we are witnessing the IndyCar debut, the oval debut, and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway oval. First appearance for 2-time Formula One world champion Fernando Alonso. My name is Kevin Lee. Robin Miller, veteran reporter, is with us. He is pit side. We'll have other guests coming up and joining us in our Pagoda booth as we continue throughout the day. Some weather is threatening in the early afternoon in the Indianapolis area. It is just before 12:45 local time, Eastern time in the United States in Indianapolis. So the scheduled noon to 1 break has been put off to get as much done as possible. And Robin, you mentioned this a little bit earlier. What is the plan? How much running might we still see from Fernando, which is also going to be based on how many tires he has left?
Yeah, he's got another set, Kevin, it looks like, but they have him planned going at least 2 more runs, and then they're making one more change, and they said if he likes that change, then they'll try and get a 3rd run snuck in here. But you got to remember, now he'll be back in a week after he runs the Grand Prix this weekend. He's coming in right now, so it'll just be interesting to hear his mindset on
go to wheel one.
Go to wheel 1. Yeah, you hear that? We're not sure what that means, but like they were messing with the front wings, and you heard Mario say it's going to be more about aero. They're not going to do a lot of mechanical changes right now until he gets the car a little more underneath him and feel a little more secure. But I think the guys from talking to the engineer, Eric Bressman, and talking to the mechanics, he seems to know what he wants pretty quick. That's pretty cool.
I saw a lap time there of, 2:21.5, somewhere in that range. That is hauling the mail on your first day in a very new environment. New car, new type of track, new people that you're working with. That's also something to keep in mind as we look at Eric Bressman, who's in charge of Andretti engineering overall, but is handling specifically this car. You know, and Robin, another big benefit that Alonso had, there's always a challenge with one-offs, that you have people that haven't done this in a little while. Well, there's nobody better than Eric Bressman, from what I understand, and I think key that he's got Michael Andretti calling strategy for him, who's done it full-time as recently as last season.
Absolutely, and he's got Dave Poplars as his chief mechanic, who's been around racing for 20 years. Rob Edwards, another guy that's an old warrior that's been around, and I just asked Rob a little while ago, I said, you guys have enough good people to run 5 cars? He said, yeah, we've run 5 cars the last couple of years. It's not that. He goes, our pit stops, Townsend Bell's pit stops were just fine. It was just a miscommunication last year between the spotter and the team, and he got involved and pulled out with Ryan Ray, but his pit stops were spot on. So maybe in the old days, running more than 2 cars was a handicap, and it hurt you in a long afternoon, left 500 miles. But I just think Andretti seems to have it down pat. Penske's going to run 5 cars this year. I've just been texting back and forth with Juan Montoya. He's been watching the test all day, and he's a buddy of Alonso's. So I just think that it's a pretty. If you're going to have a one-off, I mean, I think it was pretty obvious that it had to be with Penske, Ganassi, or Andretti. Those are the 3 teams that Fernando felt most comfortable with, and Michael stepped up to the plate.
You know, as an aside, I know we're focused on Alonso and Andretti Autosport and McLaren today, but you mentioned Juan Pablo Montoya, and just a thought on him. He tested at Gateway yesterday on the 1.25 mile oval. He tested at Barber a month and a half or so ago. I think he might be the most prepared one-off. He's going to do 2. He's going to do the road course race here too. I think he might be the most prepared program in a one-off type of situation that we've ever seen. He seems highly motivated.
I think Tony Kanaan put it best. He wants to kick everybody's butt, and that's, if you know Montoya, I mean, he's not very happy that he's a part-time driver, no matter what he says. And I mean, he won the Indy 500 2 years ago, and I told him the other day I was going to borrow as much money as I could to bet on him, because I think he's going to be tough to beat on race day here. He's a hell of a competitor. He was second quick at Gateway yesterday.
Yep.
And he's just, the guy's still got some of the most talent, the fastest hands. I mean, Montoya is one of the great race drivers we've seen in the last 4 decades, and he really likes Indianapolis. Obviously the first time he showed up here, he led almost every lap, and he was so. The great thing about Montoya was that he was so unintimidated by Indianapolis, and it was great. I remember sitting on the pit wall with him when Greg Ray knocked him off the pole, and he said, and everybody was cheering because that was the height of the IRL Champ Car kart war, and Montoya said, why are they so happy? Why was everybody cheering? Why are all these drivers coming down and high-fiving Greg Ray? And I said, because they knocked you off the pole. And he goes, so what? He goes, I'm going to kick their butt in the race. And that's exactly what he did, because he's one of the most exciting drivers to watch, and I think you better keep your eye on him on race day here, folks, because he's got something to prove. Even though he doesn't really have anything to prove, I think he wants to prove to everybody that he should still be out here full-time.
Yep, no doubt. That's Robin Miller as we watch Fernando Alonso on pit lane at Indianapolis, set to go back out once again. Joining us now in our booth is Brian Barnhart.